Everybody say, say, how can I express my gratitude for all the many things you've done for me? Words are not enough to say thank you. So Lord, you are my everything. You're my everything. How can I express my gratitude? How can I express my gratitude for all the many things Father, you done for me, yeah. Words are not enough to say thank you. So Lord, you're my everything. See, I call you Jireh. You're my provider. I call you Nisi. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. Hey. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. I call you Jireh. You're my provider. I call you Nisi. You are my banner. I call you Rapha. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. Uya matinyana. Uya matinyana. Uya matinyana.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, good morning, depending on your location. It's another great day for our community and the law. You're all welcome to new edition. Today, Saturday, is the 4th of March 2023. It's a great day, it's a beautiful day, and I welcome you all to the program. There's a platform normally we share or we digest into legal education, basically based on immigration, family law, litigations, and even our Ghanaian law. So as you join us, I'll plead with you. Don't go anywhere, just stick and stay with us, and then you share the program as others will also benefit from this wonderful edition. I'm happy to be your host for today, our dear brother Oreku Frimpong. Oreku, wherever you are, a special greetings to you, and I'm happy to take over from you today. I'm going to begin by introducing our resource person for today, but not yet. Before I do so, let me just quickly go and take some commercials, and I'll be right back.
This is our world. Here we are in our community. There are the laws. There are the regulations. We have BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors, experts in all aspects of the law, family law, civil litigation, all immigration and nationality issues, representation in court, marriage and divorce. We pride ourselves to give you excellent legal services and follow through till we get you the right result and decisions. That is our mutual satisfaction. We have a team of excellent qualified solicitors and support team to help you every step of the way. Our senior partner, with over 30 years of unbroken service to the community, is a member of the Family Law Panel and has advised several lawyers and institutions in many legal matters. He is qualified to practice both in the UK and in Ghana. Come to us. Speak to us. Let us represent you. We are your trusted community partners when it comes to the law. Locate us on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road at Seven Sisters in North London, N15 4NP. Nearest train station, Victoria Line to Seven Sisters Station, exit number 2. We are open for all consultations from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends by appointment only. Call us now on 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors, your trusted legal partner.
Welcome back to another edition of the Community and the Law. I'm super excited about today's program, and I believe you as well. Okay, quickly, we have some few things that I need to discuss before I invite our resource person to come over. First of all, if you're interested in teaching in the UK, there is going to be a webinar that's on Friday, Friday the 10th. There's going to be a webinar for resource persons to explain into details how, if you're interested in teaching in the UK, you can get access to this education. So if you're interested, you have seen a leaflet going around or this poster, just register with the Momo. If you are calling from Ghana, or if you are from Ghana, you are here, just register with the Momo and you have this information on board. It's a secure dream of yours to become a teacher in the UK. So if you are really interested, it's just a straightforward. Call the number and inquire more, or just register, show your receipt, and you can join and have this wonderful education whilst you have the access. They will teach you the process. They will teach you the how they can make match making for you, and even the security of you securing this job with them. So just call Katie on 075 9662 154, or call 07961 4662 and inquire for more information. Thank you very much. And also, I would like to wish my dear brother Kwaku Frimpong a very happy belated birthday. Mr. Frimpong, wherever you are, I know probably you'll be enjoying somewhere, but don't forget, maybe the rest of this, just call me, I'll come and join you. But brethren, viewers and listeners, let's celebrate our brother Kwaku Frimpong as he celebrates his birthday. Kwaku, God bless you wherever you are. Make sure you enjoy to the max. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on to our program, The Community and the Law, today. But before that, let us also see our nugget for today, because at the end of the day, we have a special edition where we have our quiz, and there are a few questions that will pop up for you to answer. And these questions probably may come from our nugget. So make sure you read the nugget carefully. And before, let me do that for you. The government has the power to remove someone's UK citizenship in certain circumstances. This was when last Friday I had education with Uncle Bernard, or Uncle Ben, Mr. Owusu himself. And they've explained few things that you can to avoid that, and things that can happen that will lay you into become a victim of this nature. So let's look at the example. What are some of the things that you need to know? What it says, the nugget says that it is for the public good and will not make them stateless. So that means, I think yesterday, if you visit yesterday's program, most of the explanation is on the platform for you to get. So the first one is saying, what are these circumstances? It is for the public good and will not make them stateless. I'm not going to explain that. The person obtained citizenship through fraud. So these are some of the things that can lead you to getting either your citizenship revoked or deprived. Okay, so the third one is their action could harm UK interest and they could claim citizenship elsewhere. For example, or for people who have a naturalized as British, deprivation or citizenship is permitted even if it will leave them stateless. For example, without the citizenship of any country. Someone who was born British and has no other nationality cannot be deprived of their citizenship under any circumstances. The Home Office is required to give the person written notice. Sorry, there's a phone call coming through. Sorry about that. Under Section 10 of the Nationality and Borders Act 2022, uh, is it Hazard and Others versus Secretary of State for the Home Office, Home Department, Baki Jasi versus Secretary of State for the Home Department. So let's take note of these nuggets, and then at the end of the program, when we do the quiz, you get your answers straight from the nuggets. Thank you very much. So now I'm going to introduce my resource person for the day, of no other person than our hey Mr. Sir Asmah, or Sir Charles Asmah. So, Sir Charles, you're welcome. Let me give you the opportunity to greet the viewers and the listeners, and then we take your program from here.
Thank you very much. So, viewers and listeners, once again, a very good afternoon to you all. We've met again on the platform to engage and to learn. Today, we are grateful to God for the opportunity, and we are also grateful to the leadership of BWtv Solicitors for the platform. And please do invite family and friends so that together we learn and develop.
Okay, Mr. Asma, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, listeners. Please, as soon as you come on board, if you can do us a favor by sharing, liking the page, sharing, and then make sure all your friends and families can get access to the program as we are on right now. Okay, today there's this topic that we want to really discuss. It's let's take it this way. It's everybody's desire to have a company or to work for themselves. And coming to the UK or wherever you are, if you find yourself getting that opportunity, opening your own company, there are few things that comes with it that it is your obligation that or your responsibility to do. So today's topic, we are going to talk about a few things concerning this kind of thing. But my main question, if my producer will bring the question on board for us before I give my little bit intro. Okay, let's go on. There are a few at times you know yourself when you have a company. In UK, we have financial year, or within the financial year, there are a few documents that you need to show to the either the tax office or the company house that you own this company, and these are the things that you've done basically about the company. So either you declare your financial status, or you declare your financial account, or you declare your tax and things like that. We also have this self-assessment and so on and so forth. So today you could see we are basically talking about your company and how your company account can get to the right place on time. So my main question is, what do I do if I miss the deadline for filing my company's account and confirmation statement to the company house? And we all know when you have a company, there are key people that you employ or part of the company that make sure things concerning the finances of the company are always intact. And these key people, I'll be asking my lawyer to explain who are some of these key people who is their responsibility to either file your company's account to the tax office or to the company what do you call the company house. So lawyer Asma, I have this major question here. What do I do if I miss the deadline for filing my company's account and confirmation statement to the company's house? So first of all, must I have company account when I file or when I open a company?
Thank you very much, viewers and listeners. So I will crave the indulgence of my able host to take me a step back to the nugget so that we prepare students for the quiz ahead.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I'm going to shed a little light on the nugget. I know that viewers have already read the nugget, thought about the nugget, and have understood the nugget. However, suffice to say that we will just add a little so that at least their knowledge will be complete, so that they will not question that we didn't teach the syllabus and we are examining them on that.
Okay.
Right. So the nugget is clear and is to do with loss of citizenship or deprivation of citizenship in the UK. And the law is clear. Section 40 of the relevant laws. We're looking at the 1981 law, British Nationality Act. We're also looking at the current provision that the law that was promulgated 2022, the Nationality and Borders Act, also looking at Section 10 of that law. We are looking at, can I lose my citizenship? Yes, you can. And there are three things that can happen for you to lose your citizenship. We are looking at how the citizenship was acquired in the first place. So we know that if you are not born British, then you are likely to be registered British, or you are likely to acquire through naturalization. So if you are naturalized or you are registered as a child to become British citizen, the question is, can you lose that citizenship? And the law has made it clear that it is possible. So what can happen? That at the time of registration or at the time of naturalization, obviously you make application, you provide the information, and what the law is saying is that if it is taken that at the time of naturalizing or registering, the information you provided were false, then you have potentially acquired your citizenship by fraud. So fraud can lead to later being asked to give up that citizenship. The next one is public good or public interest. If the Secretary of State thinks that it is good for the public to be protected, and by that you have to forfeit your citizenship to be removed from the country, then in the interest of public good, your citizenship can be taken away from you. And of course, the position is that by taking the citizenship away from the person should not be rendered stateless. If the person is going to be rendered stateless, then they will be given opportunity to respond to that. We're also looking at a third bit, which is actions that could harm the interest of the UK. So we are looking at the national interest. If it is a case of national interest, then citizenship can be taken away from you, especially where the person has opportunity to claim citizenship elsewhere. And this is where we look at cases bordering on terrorism, war, and other activities that people engage in that can create issues for UK as a sovereign state. So a case in point is the case of Shamima Begum, who went to Syria to fight and came back, wanted to return. She was stopped from or prevented from returning. She claims that she's a British citizen, yes, but what the law is saying is that even though she is a British citizen, she can have citizenship elsewhere. So these are the instances where we can lose our citizenship, and therefore we have to be really, really careful. This is case law supported, and also the new law, which is the Nationality and Borders Act 2022, is clear on that, that even though you have become a British citizen, if any of these three things become evident, you can lose that citizenship.
Wow. Okay. So it's like in a summary, you've explained everything that we need to know about losing your citizenship in case such a thing happen. Thank you very much, Mr. Asma. Thank you so much. Now we'll move to our main topic for the day. Listeners, please, I indulge you all to share the program as soon as you come on. Share, like the page, and then if you have any questions at all after the main education in some few minutes, I'll open the phone lines for you to ask any question at all. It could be questions based on the topic, or it could be any other thing. You are welcome to ask, but make sure you share the program whilst you join. Don't just take it upon yourself not to share. Please do share for us. Okay, Lawyer Asma, let's move on. Now we know we're talking about companies, and we know in this country, every company that you open is governed by some sort of act. When we talk of act, then we are talking in terms of the law. So now I have a company. I know the law, my company is governed by a certain act, and having a company, so there are key people that you need to have them within the company that will see to day, or even your financial aspect of the company, between the company and the government. So if you can explain to us these people involved, and then what act actually governs what we need to do when we have a company, and then we continue with our main question. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Viewers and listeners, today we are looking at something else. Obviously, when you have opportunity to ask questions, you can still ask any question at all, even if we have not discussed that point. Our focus today is on companies and individuals who are behind those companies, and when it comes to statutory compliance, what happens when such compliances are not followed through. So we are looking at a piece of legislation that governs UK companies, Companies Act 2006. The law requires that before an individual can operate a company, it has to be registered. So we register that through Companies House. And you also have an obligation for tax purposes to ensure that HMRC is aware, so that more or less you also have to inform HMRC so that you have tax identity for that company. Because HMRC and Companies House are both looking at the same thing, they often work in hand. So sometimes when you are filing, you see that it gives you opportunity to also submit the same thing to HMRC if you want, but you can also do them separately. Now, the question now asked is, who are the individuals behind the company? So once you register your business, either as an individual, one man, one person, one-man business, let me put it like that, or if you are more than one, it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that the company has assumed independent status, legal identity. And because the company cannot do anything without the people behind it, it operates through those people. So the people speaking for the company, we have the directors. Can be one director or two directors or whatever number, but we have a director. The director has a responsibility to ensure that the company complies with the law, because the company cannot speak. There is also opportunity for the company to have a secretary. So there are instances where the company will have a secretary which is different from the director. So if there is a secretary, the secretary will ensure that all the papers are filed timely or at the right time, and so on and so forth. Now, the third part is PSCs, people with or persons with significant control. Let's call these people the owners. What it means that somebody can be a director but not necessarily an owner.
Okay.
Now, before there was no PSC or person with significant control, and therefore it is sometimes easy for the director to say that, well, I only work for the business or direct the business, but I'm not an owner. And therefore, who will be responsible when the business is not able to act appropriately? So the law created another status, persons with significant control. So all people listening to us this afternoon, if you have a company or you have a business, or even if you Google any business or any company at all you know, just go on Companies House and find the name. It will come up and you see people. If you go under the people tab and you click, you see the people who are behind that business. Now, those people can be directors, as we said, or PSC. So the PSC, what is the person supposed to do? The person is supposed to show that they actually own the business and how much ownership they have in that business. So the director can also be the person with significant control. Either the person has 50% control, 75% control, or 100% control. The law requires you to make sure that you state that. What it means is that if there are different persons with significant control, the ownership level will inform how much responsibility they have.
Okay.
And therefore, it's very important.
Right. So with these people that you've just mentioned, that's persons with significant control. That means they can even be part of the either the owners of the or also the director of the company. So what I meant is I can be the PSC in a company and at the same time a director or even a secretary. Can that be possible?
So if you are going to select, if you are going to show that the company has a secretary, then it has to be somebody else. The director cannot be a secretary, so to speak. So, but the secretary is not a director. So when we are looking for the directors, we will not be tracing the secretary. So these are the differences.
Okay. However,
Otherwise, you can choose not to have a secretary at all.
at all. But however, these people can be this also the same as the PCS, right?
So if let's say there's one man business and the director is the owner, then the
Yeah.
owner is the person with significant control, where the person may have 100% control or ownership.
Right.
If there are two people, then we say that this person has maybe majority control and somebody else has minority control.
Okay, that's good. So the question here is, so what if they fail to meet the statutory duty of this company or the financial aspect of it? What happens?
Thank you very much. So at the beginning of the business, once the business is incorporated or registered, it has started its life. You have 1 year to get ready for declaring what you have done in that previous year.
Okay.
So once the first anniversary, you are due to file your accounts and also file what we call confirmation statement.
Okay.
Accounts are the activities that took place within the business in terms of money.
Okay.
So how much money the business, how much sales or turnover the business realized, how much profit, how much assets the business has, how much does the business owe. All this will be put together into in the form of financial report
Okay.
accounts. So that is one side. The other one is to report that the information provided during the company registration has either changed or not changed. And that is called confirmation statement. So you confirm that the details about the business hasn't changed. And the details here, we are looking at the directorship, we are looking at the people with significant control, we are looking at the capital structure and all that. If nothing has changed, you just say, I confirm. If something has changed, you update it. Now, it's very important that you don't ignore the confirmation, because once you ignore the confirmation, you are not complying with one of the duties, which is to file that confirmation statement. So the confirmation statement is different from the set of financial report or accounts.
Okay.
The confirmation statement used to be called.
Last, my hold on, you are going too far. I want you to break it down from the account aspect. So, they have that statutory duty to declare whatever it is. First of all, I know one of them could be the annual account, like you've just explained. But I want you to go a little bit back with the annual account. So when we talk of annual, of course, it's a yearly. what do you think should entails in that annual account before they can declare? Are there any aspect that needed to be out, or everything concerning the financial aspect of the company that needed to be declared should be in the annual account? Is that what you are saying?
So obviously the business would have prepared its account in the books at the office, and they
Yes.
just report this to the government. Now you have a choice. If it's a small business with insignificant turnover, you can go for micro account. Micro account is just abridged form, so it's just brief. Then you can also go for comprehensive account, which will
Okay.
show a lot more information. It's a matter of what is relevant or peculiar to your case. If you take company like Tesco, you can see it's a very large company. Therefore, it will go for comprehensive account. But if you
Yeah.
take a company like X Limited,
Some.
somewhere, that business may be small, and therefore they can go for micro account.
Right. So, can you give us some of the examples of things that should involve in the account? Just example.
So the example here will be assets of the business.
Yes.
So if it's a micro account, you see that you only show your fixed asset or your non-current asset. These are technical terms. But
Terms.
what it means is that your machines or the equipment you use for running your business, which
That's
you don't sell, because you rely on that to operate the business daily, and they last for a long time, more than 1 year, you still have it, then we call them fixed assets or non-current assets. In this case, you put all together, you value it, and you declare how much value you have for those assets. It's important that you declare that. Then you also look at another type of assets, which are the ones that you rely on actually to run the business on daily basis, which tend to change form or nature regularly. Example, bank balance,
yeah.
cash, people that owe you money that you intend to collect. Of course, you will collect them. We call
Yeah.
them accounts receivables or debtors. So if
Okay.
people owe you money and you haven't written that off and you expect to get it, you also declare as your asset. You might also have paid money that you have not enjoyed the service already. So you have paid something in advance, but the service has not yet been rendered. That money, if you change your mind, depending on the contractual agreement, you can get your money back. So we also put that in there as part of the asset. We call them prepayments. Now, you put all this together, you have your assets. You also have to declare people that you owe money to. It's important that you declare people how much money the company owes. So if the company owes money, you cannot hide it. You have to declare it. And the
Okay.
money company owes could be the money owed to even the director or the owners.
Okay.
Because the business is different from the owner. If the owner put in money into the business, it goes against the business as a loan.
Right.
So you have
Okay.
to declare that the business owes X amount. Then,
Okay.
of course, the account, you don't have to tell who and who the business owes, but just put the amount together.
That
Then you're
is
also looking at payment that you need to pay or make within a short time, within, let's say, 6 months to 1 year. So you owe suppliers. You have to declare that you'll be paying them. Maybe you owe HMRC. That will
yes.
also come in there. But they are not coming in there as individual names. You put all this together. We call them payment falling due, either
Yes.
within 1 year or after 1 year. Then whatever is left is the reserve or capital. So what it means is that the company house or the law is not looking to see how much you are declaring, but the law is looking to see that you have followed the rules to show
See.
what is happening. Those people who will be checking to see what is happening could be investors or workers or suppliers and so on and so forth. Those people may check to see, this business is not really doing great. Why do I bother investing in? Or why do I bother? And so on and so forth. So that is a difference. So you can see that the law requires the company to show these pieces of information for the benefit of the public.
Okay.
So that those who want to think about investing in the business are not deceived.
Right. Well understood now. So from that point, it doesn't really matter whether you've made profits from the company or you've made some losses. It doesn't matter. You declare whatever you've used your finances for within the company to the company house. And that's it. And for the purposes of, or for the benefit of those who may like to invest, looking at your performance of the company with that annual account. That's, we can confirm that.
Yes, so depending, as I said, depending on the set of accounts you've chosen to file. If you are filing simple accounts, then it's quite simple, one page. But if you are filing a comprehensive account, then that will start from the sales right down, sales or turnover, right down to your profits before you come to the assets and other things, which we simply call balance sheet elements. So most people, most businesses, simple businesses will go for the micro because the law allows them. Then large businesses will have to do the comprehensive. So comprehensive, you see a lot of things. But with the micro, everything is hidden. Most of the things are hidden.
Okay. Asmah, thank you. We hope one day we'll also open a big account where we can show big companies where we can show comprehensive. I mean, it's just by the way. So at what time or what point do we have to have that confirmation statement? So having declared your account, your annual account to the company house, where do we have the confirmation statement?
So confirmation statement is supposed to be filed. Usually they will give you time frame within which to be filed. But you have to file it usually 9 months after the first anniversary. You have to file your statement to show that what you reported or declared at the time of registering the business is the same. If it's the same, you just have to confirm that nothing has changed. If anything has changed, you have to. So what are the things that can change? Capital or the share structure can change. So somebody might have registered a business with share volume of 1 for £1. So the person has 1 share sold for £1, and that is the capital. The law allows that. Or the person has 2 shares for £2 or for £100, depending. It's not really how much, there's no formula or there's no rule for saying how much it is. If you are selling your share, you decide how much you are selling the share. So if you said that you have, let's say, 1 share for £100, and by the end of first year, it's increased to maybe 2 shares or 3 shares, then you have to amend the statement by confirming that it's changed from 1 to, let's say, 3, or it is the same as before, only 1. So that is one aspect. You also have to show whether the type of shares are still the same, whether they are ordinary shares or they are preference shares. These are different, all jargon, so I'm not going to go into details. But you just have to show that nothing has changed. And if something has changed, you still make it clear to the government as part of the filing. So 9 months, you know that you have to do that. Is it possible for for the directors to forget that it is due for filing? Yeah, it is possible.
So if it's possible, what happens? What happens if you fail to file it on time? What happens? And if you fail to file this document on time, are there any consequences that comes with it?
So what it is that you'll be informed that you have failed to deliver your account or confirmation statement or both.
Okay.
At that point, you have to take steps to remedy the situation or to respond by doing what you should have done. Oftentimes, if you failed to deliver, you pay a penalty.
Yeah.
So one consequence is that there will be penalty to be paid for filing it late. And the penalty is calculated on daily basis. So the longer it takes, the more you pay. That is one aspect for the directors. If it is still not done, the business will be listed for strike off or strike out. It will be deleted from the register. So you'll be notified that the business is going to be removed. If you still did not respond, then it will be removed completely from the list of companies on the register. Once that happens, the director may have personal responsibility. Because if you're a director and you have not been responsible in terms of your company compliance activities, it may affect your bank, or bankers can say that you have failed to do XYZ in your capacity as a director, and therefore we cannot keep your account anymore. So even your account can be closed. Of course, the business account itself will be closed, but it can also extend to the directors. So those are the things that can happen. Now, at the point where you have received the notice, you have to act and get it sorted. Then the penalties that come with it, you pay that. If there are good reasons why you could not file on time, you have to inform Companies House that this is what happened, and if the excuse is good enough, they will accept that and give you extension to file those statutory returns.
Okay, so in that case, even if you pay the fine, if for instance they've given you a fine to pay for failing to file your account on time, and you pay the fine, and still you haven't filed the account, would there be still nominal account penalty to be paid, or it will move from the fine to probably the strike or strike off totally?
The reason why you pay the fine is that you intend to file it late.
Okay.
So if you are not filing it, why will you pay and wait? Because it's going to lead to strike off. So what it means is that once you know that you are late, you are going to take steps to do late filing, but you have to pay the penalty. If you feel that the penalty charge is not reasonable, you can appeal. There is opportunity to appeal, stating the reasons why you didn't deliver on time. Now, what happens is that as soon as the company is strike out, the name becomes available, more or less vacant. We say the company is dissolved. At the point where the company is dissolved, anybody can use the name because the name becomes available. But you can then go back and reinstate the business as soon as possible. So you can see that somebody will start a business company, register a company today. 1 year down the line is dissolved. Then the name comes up again with another date. What it means is that a person is trying to protect the name because maybe the name is very important.
Of course.
Because as long as the name is used by somebody, you cannot use it. But if it is available, then you can chance upon it and use it.
Okay, so here we are talking about the company's name or the name of the company.
The name of the company.
Right. So, Lawyer Asmah, after explaining all this, now let's come to the director or the PCS, right? This PS, yeah. So, what happens to them if they fail to do them themselves? What happens to them if they fail to file this account on time?
So, as I said, you are the person with significant control. So, you have to make sure that you do what you need to do. The directors are also responsible for those compliance activities. One thing that can happen is the individuals themselves can have their accounts affected, their personal bank account affected. Because the moment this comes up, it becomes a public information. It's public record. So some banks can say that you are a director of a company, you did not file your accounts on time, and we have information that you have failed or the company failed to do this, and it is, of course, you are the director. So we cannot keep your account running. More or less, it's a matter of they feel that if you are breaching certain rules, then they cannot do business with you. So some banks go to that extent of closing the director's account or the PSC's account, even though the account is not for the business. And of course, the company's account, once the company is dissolved, notice will be served. So the bank can also receive a notice. And these days, most of the banks, it's a matter of public information. They can get the information online. They can even get information from agents. So if the company is dissolved and they get the information or received notice, then they have to close the company's account.
Okay. So if they close the company's account, it doesn't affect my personal account. Will it affect their personal account as well?
As I said, some banks go a step further to deal with the director or the PSC. So that if a bank can say that, well, this director failed to do X, Y, Z as part of the compliance activities, and because of that,
Yes.
your personal account cannot be allowed to run, even though it is not the company's account.
Wow.
So some banks are very strict.
Okay. To some extent, one might say it's not really fair because I have my personal account even before I opened the company. And then, of course, through that, I got the company's account as well. So if it's the company that is being resolved or is strike off, it shouldn't affect my personal account. But if, like you say, some banks, not all the banks may do that, but some banks. So of course, and is there any way, if of course, if they should close your account, then that means you have to go and open a different account somewhere, and all these questions will be popping up. You know, we know the banking system, right? Okay, Asmah, thank you, thank you very much. I'm just so a bit excited and at the same time a bit confused because there's some private issue going on somewhere and it's totally distracting me. But let's stay focused and then continue. So like viewers, you're all welcome. If this you just join us, you are welcome once again. This is community and the law, and I believe you are taking something from the discussion so far because we are talking about our companies and what we need to do or what to do if you fail to file your accounts to the company house. So what happens and the consequences that will come afterwards. So that is what we are discussing so far. We talk about few things, what a company account itself is. We've talked about the confirmation statement as well. And then we've also explained few things about your PC, the person with significant why do I keep
Control.
control? Yeah, control. We've also explained these few things. So if you've just joined us, please, if you can keep on sharing the program for others also to benefit from it. I'll open the phone lines very soon. If you want to ask any question at all, you are welcome to ask. It could be based on the topic that we are discussing, or it could be any other topic. We are here to talk about litigations, family law, immigration, and so on and so forth, and even our Ghanaian law in case you happen to come from Ghana. So you are all welcome once again. Lawyer Asmah, let me ask my one question here as well. Now I stand as a company, like you said, one person's company, and most of the time we either name it a limited company or limited liability companies. Okay, so here is the case. The year has come to an end where we know mostly you have to file most of this information to the company house or to the tax around somewhere January. Now you've given us the brief that if in case you are being fined, you can pay the fine with the intention that you are going to file it later, or you fail to file it earlier, so after paying you go ahead and file it. Now you've done all these things, and then provided you yourself, you are the main person, only one person, so you are the director. Obviously you cannot be the secretary as well, and you hold the name of the company. Now my question here is that I've been able to go through all these things, and yet maybe the HRM is saying, no, we've strike you off. Now you've lost the name of the company, and I want to open a new company. Would my name being the first one and the few things I went through being strike off, can I use my same, because I'm the same person, want to open a new company? Would there be some sort of consequences because I had one before it was strike off due to maybe my negligence or due to one of these reasons? Would there be anything against me opening a new company? I don't know if you can get what I'm
Well, there
trying.
are no restrictions. So you can start a new business or you can register a new company. If the name has not already been taken, you can re-register it. If the name is already taken by somebody else, then you can use a new name because you cannot.
So won't there be some sort of, because I had a problem before, I'm taking this as a problem, failing to file and going through all these things, and then the company is being strike off, not even a day or two, then I go back and register the same company. I'm trying to get a bit confused over there. Is it possible to do that?
So registration gives birth to the business.
Mm-hmm,
So if one is dead,
mm-hmm.
either by force or by will, if I say by force, the company house will take steps to terminate it. That's the strikeout.
Mm-hmm.
By will is where the person will say, I want to dissolve the business. So you can dissolve it yourself.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
whether by force or by will, the business is no more. You can start a new business. You can register a new one.
A new
If you
one.
want to use the same name, you just have to make sure that it is not used or hasn't been taken up by somebody else within the time that you dissolved.
Okay.
So
Right.
no,
Thank you very much.
there is a flexibility.
Okay, I'm going to open the telephone lines now in case somebody wants to phone in and ask any question at all. We are in the studio 0208 123 1016 or 0739920848. There is also a WhatsApp line that you can either send a voice note. Go to the WhatsApp icon, click on the microphone there, and leave just as short as possible, within a minute or so, and then leave your message there. I'll play it for Mr. Asman or Lawyer Asman to give you the explanation or the answer for that. So numbers again, 020 020 81231016 or 0739920848. Somebody just called. I think we might have missed that, but before, as we are waiting for few calls to come in, let me quickly shout out to all those on board. Iqbal Masi, thank you for joining us. Cody Frimpong, say hello, Manye. Hope all is well. Good evening. Good evening, my sister, wherever you are. Adai Mununkun say good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing okay. Mr. Adai Mununko, thank you for joining us. I believe you've already shared. Then, of course, my dear sister Sandra Fraser is already on board. So please share, 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 share. Sandra, thank you. Thank you for that message. Sandra went on to give all the details that in case you want to have BWF solicitors to take up your case for you. So BWF Solicitors, you can locate us at the 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road. But all the lawyers, we have their contact there, from Sir Richard, the number you can find Eunice, you can find Sir Patrick and Sir Charles, and even the office line as well. Office line as well. You can find them, all the information there. Available on the screen. And also greetings to Richard Asmah. We've got a question, and somebody is on the line. You are welcome to the community and the law. May I know where you're calling from and your question, please?
Hello, my name is Kwaku Frimpong.
Okay.
I'm calling from Dudley.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to find out if, for instance, I want to register a company, a new company. Can I be a director and be an employee for another company? Is it going to affect like my tax code or anything?
Well, Mr. Asmah, I know for sure it's possible. It's possible to be a director of your own company and an employee of another company. But with the taxing system, let me leave it to the expert to explain it to you. Thank you very much for your question.
Thank you.
Mr. Asmah.
Right. So is our caller on the line?
Oh, I think the phone line just dropped off.
Okay, all right. So let me just respond to his question. Yes, you can be an employee and also owning your business elsewhere.
Yeah.
And depending on the type of business you have, if your business, the self-employment business is sole proprietorship, where you have to file your annual accounts yourself in your own name, then when you are filing your accounts, the question will be, are you a director of another business?
Okay.
So if you're a director of another business, that will come up. But if, let's say you own this company, and the company is filing the returns or filing the accounts, it is the company filing it, not you as an individual sole proprietor. So in this case, the company is filing its account, and you being the director, you are responding to that. But being a director, sometimes, depending on your emolument or your payment, you may have to declare certain things to HMRC yourself using Form PD11. And therefore, depending on your circumstance, you have to declare your directorship and what you are getting. But if it's as simple as it is, you are not using it for anything, then your company files its account, you make sure that it is done, then your salary, you pay your HMRC tax through your company or through your employer. You only get your pay slips at the end of the month or at the end of the week. So you don't really have to do anything.
Yeah, I think the line went off. Sorry, Mr. The caller, if you can call back, maybe there are a few follow-up questions Mr. Asmah would like to ask you. You said, for instance, having a company and working as employee for someone, how you are not a self-employed, or once you have your company, does it make you self-employed automatically? That is why
oftentimes we confuse. Of course, if you are working for yourself, you are self-employed, but it depends on the gateway or the route you have taken. So we have different types of businesses. If you are running as sole proprietor, where you haven't registered as a business, but let's call it enterprise. So you are running an enterprise. If you are running an enterprise, it's sole proprietorship. So you only deal with HMRC. You don't deal with Companies House.
All right.
You only deal with Companies House when the name changes to company. So if the name is X Limited, either LTD or LIMITD, it doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of choice. If it's a private company, then you are self-employed, but as a company owner.
Okay.
But the question here, so you are working for yourself through your company. But because the company is different from you.
Right.
You own the business, but the business is different. The business is independent.
Okay.
The business does everything by itself through you.
Okay. Okay.
But if you are running an enterprise and you have nothing to do with company's house, then you are the business.
Wow, it's a bit technical, but I have a caller. I'll come to this question. I have a caller. Hello, caller. Welcome.
Hi, Manya. It's Kwaku Frimpong again.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes,
okay.
The line I tried staying on, but it dropped.
Right. Okay. So,
yes.
Is there any follow-up question? The caller who called first, Mr. Asmah, he's here. Is there? You were asking whether he was still on hold so that you could ask him some questions. Your voice is gone.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Mr. Asmah, your microphone is off.
Yeah, so can you hear me now?
Yes.
So what I'm asking is, if he got the response I shared, then that should be fine. If he has a follow-up question, he can ask.
Okay.
Yes. So the actually calling back was in relation to if I could book appointment maybe on the 15th to come and see him in London.
Oh yes, Mr. Asmah, did you hear what he said?
So, all right, are you thinking of starting a company?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yes, that's fine.
So you can phone the office and then book an
I'll
appointment.
call Monday and book the appointment.
Provided your schedule on the 15th. You mean the 15th days of this month?
15th of this month, yes, please.
Okay,
so
believe
phone and book appointment, please.
Definitely.
I will.
All right. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Mr.
so much.
Kwaku Frimpong.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So let's go back to our question, lawyer Asmah. You said you have your company and you have yourself, of course. That is what it's supposed to be. But then when you have the company, even if it was an enterprise or it is an enterprise, you still register with the company house that now you have a company. Or you can have a company without registering it with the company house.
So company's house, as the word suggests, deals with all companies. If it is not a company, then you don't have anything to do with company's house.
Okay.
So if you are running a sole proprietorship, so we normally call it sole trader.
Sole trader, yes.
But sole trader is not the business. Sole trader is the person who runs the sole trading activity. Okay. So I often decide not to call it sole trader. I call it sole proprietorship. So if you are running a sole proprietorship or you are a sole trader, then you don't have anything to do with company's house. Let's say you are running off license, chicken and chip shop. You are doing your own thing. You're doing your own consultancy and so on and so forth. For example, KT Education Consult might not have taken identity as a company. In this case, it might be running as an enterprise. Okay. And therefore, the owner of KT Education Consult is running this as a sole proprietorship. Right. So the person, the owner, will only deal with HMRC for tax purposes.
Okay, and not the company house.
And not company's house. Because in this case, KT Education Consult, which is an enterprise or sole proprietorship, is the same as the owner. It's not different from the owner. Yeah. But the moment KT Education Consult is registered and takes the personality of a company, private company limited, and limited simply means that the persons, if the company should go into bankruptcy or the company collapses and there are debts owed by the business.
Okay.
They look at how much the shareholders should pay or contribute towards the debt.
The debt,
so if it is limited, what we are saying that your debt is limited by how much shares you hold.
Oh.
That is what we mean by limited. If it is unlimited, then it is everything. Your personal asset is not limited to how much you have committed or contributed. Right. And that's why private companies are not unlimited. They are limited. So that the private asset of the owners can be protected by the amount of shares they have invested in the business or they hold in the business. So if you're a person with significant control and you own, let's say, 50% of the shares, then when the business goes bust and we are looking for people to pay the debt because the business hasn't got assets to sell to pay off, then we come to you and you have to contribute based on how much shares you have invested or bought. So that is limited. That is the reason for limited. There are some businesses that cannot assume the limited status. Then you have to declare unlimited. If you are unlimited, when the business goes bust, personal assets of the owners are also at risk, and it is not limited to any amount.
Oh, explain that bit. I thought if it's limited, it doesn't affect your assets. Oh,
if
I
it
didn't
is
get
unlimited.
Oh, unlimited. Okay.
Yes. So if the business is, let's say, XYZ unlimited, that's why you don't have many unlimited.
Of course.
So it depends on what business it is that the law will force you to declare unlimited status. Otherwise, it has to be limited status.
Okay.
There's also what we call community interest companies. Community interest companies are 50% charity. The reason why I say 50% charity, they are quasi-charity in the sense that they haven't assumed charity status. They run as charities, but they take commercial status and pay tax on even the charity donations they receive.
Okay.
But they deal with companies' house, but they have to file their report and account separately or differently. So depending on the type of business company you are running, your rules will differ. And if it is charity, you deal with charity commission. If it is CIC, community interest company, you deal with the Office of Community Interest Company. If it is company limited by shares or limited by guarantee, so that is why CIC can be limited by guarantee, because the owners or the people running the CIC have guaranteed to contribute X amount towards the debt of the business. So these are the nitty-gritties.
Yes. But it's a bit technical and I'm getting a bit mixed up with the whole thing. But thanks for the explanation though. Viewers and listeners, we are on the program on the topic, what do I do if I miss the deadline for filing my company's account and confirmation statement to the company house? Thank you so much, Lawyer Asmah. If you want to contribute or phone in to ask your question, we have the telephone numbers online. That's 0208 123 1016 or 0739920848. And we also have the WhatsApp number that you can call. Sorry, you can either leave a voice note or send your WhatsApp, which is 07596620154. I have one question here. Let me ask. I know the time this question came on, it might not be based on this topic because it came just as we started. So let me quickly play this audio and then we answer the person.
Hello, lawyer. Pacho, good morning. With the lawyer, Pacho, the me question person be say me or Ghana has seen a ma apply for visa. I care worker maybe. But me the 2 months no ma refuse me. Almost say that English exams no mo so refuse me. Nti almost pe UKVI the UKVI number ɛwɔ so. Na me patro na me bisa sɛ me ye refuse me na me ye me COS na company ni de ma me no enwuye no me sa me sa apply for fofora metime use sa COS na eno na atwere ma adwen so patro metime hu sɛ metime use that old one na me de ye for way na enwuye no metime use eno ana. That's
Okay, Asmah, this is way off the topic, but
I'm saying now, I suppose you will be able to shed light on this
yeah,
if you would
yeah.
wish to.
Yes. So, if you are listening to me, the person who sent the question, if the moment you use that English, which is not UKVI for your application, and it's been refused, you can't use the COS again. Even if you get a new English with the UKVI, because the first course, the first application has been refused, it's going to render the course invalid. So even if you have a new English within even 2 or 3 days, there is no way you can use that to use the same course to apply for a new visa. So unfortunately, my sister, if you are listening to us, you have to get a new course with your new English that you've gotten to apply for the visa. So that is what it is. I think we've had education on this I think 2 weeks ago. Lawyer Bernard explained vividly on this type of English, the ones that you really need to go and write, which is the UKVI. Any other IELTS will not be accepted apart from the UKVI, or you can use either your degree by converting it with the ethics, the visa, the UKVI ethics one, before you can use that as well to do the application. So that is what it is. Lawyer Asmah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to explain. The numbers again to call is 02081231016 or 07399208468. I've got a question here. Let me address that or ask that. It says, please, I have my children in Ghana and I want to apply for their visas to be visiting the UK every vacation. Alternatively, would their BRPs be affected? Idrisu. So, Lawyer Asmah, I don't know if you get the
Right.
question.
So I think we've answered this question before, but we'll say that the moment the children enter the UK and they are given the BRP, what it means is that they are living in the UK. And obviously, they have said that they would be living in the UK and they wouldn't expect to be going back and forth. Because they are students or they are still in school, it's likely that they will most of the time be living outside the UK and only be coming to the UK on holidays, as the caller or the questioner asked. So that may affect the BRP or the status, especially when the person or the children are going to renew. So if you want the children to be relocated to the UK, then make that decision that when they come, they will continue their schooling in the UK.
Okay. I've got one question here on the WhatsApp. It's saying, I came in with a skilled. This question keep coming. I came in with a skilled worker scheme or visa, and I've been here for the past 3 months, and the company that recruited me hasn't got the vacancy anymore. What do I do? Is it possible to convert my visa into a self-employed? Yes, a self-employed. Asma, is there any possibility along the way?
No, you know that when you are coming as a skilled worker migrant, your job is already set out.
Yeah.
Come and work for the sponsor in that industry.
Mm.
And there are certain things you can't do, including setting up on your own to say that you don't want to be working as a skilled sponsored migrant, but as this. So it will be difficult. I thought the person was going to ask, can I change employer? Yeah, so if it's a case of changing employer, of course, you have to then go through the process to obtain a new sponsor. And the Home Office will give you time frame within which you have to make the transition. But you go through the process again, get COS, and make a new application before the deadline you are given expires. But you cannot decide to become self-employed. On what basis are you going to be able to work as self-employed in the UK if you don't have leave to remain?
Okay, the question, the follow-up question, based on the explanation you've given, he's saying the company have allowed him to have 20 hours somewhere. So he went to register with an agency that could give him the same line of job with that 20 hours. But the agency is asking him to register as a self-employed, because the agency only employed for self-employed purposes. So like the hours you do, you have to file your tax and things like that. So he's asking, is there a possibility to do that? I still have my course that I'm waiting for the company to grant me the job or get vacancy for me, but I have 20 hours here, and can I use that as the self-employed, what the agency is saying? Can I do that?
Right. In this case, I won't say that the original sponsor hasn't got a job, because
Okay.
if the route is not there, how do you even have your 20? Because the 20 is just a top up.
Okay.
So you must still have your 37 or 40 hours, the base.
Before.
Then you have the top up. Because the top up is not going to give you sponsorship. The top up is allowed to give you extra job because you are flexible enough to do extra. Now, what this person is saying, that this new person or new company is not hiring as an employee or a worker,
Yes.
but they
Yes.
operate with individual
Like
self-employed people.
Yes.
What I would say is that as long as the first company is still okay, the sponsorship is still there, he is being sorted out either way, because the company must show that the person has arrived working and they are going through the process with HMRC and others. The top up is a different conversation. If you call the HMRC office to tell them that I'm here as a skilled worker, I work for this company. In addition to that, I do this on the side for that, but the money is paid to me directly. It doesn't go through the payroll. So I want to report it for tax purposes. Then you'll be given unique tax reference number so that you declare that as self-employed, sole trader or sole proprietor or consultant or whatever. But
Okay.
you are
So
not registering a company per se.
no.
Yeah.
No.
So yes. So HMRC will even be happy that you've been honest enough to tell us that you are getting extra money, so we should collect the tax.
Your tax. Well, they need to take truthful people to actually do that, because if I'm getting the money at hand, I mean, lawyer Asmah, let's truth be true. Do you think I'll go and declare? I know some people, I mean, for genuinity of your visa and the tax purposes, you have to. But some people I know, typical people, I won't mention the name, I know, may just ignore this act. But of course, if you really want to, there are ways you can go about it. In fact, we've been having numerous complaints based on this kind of skilled worker route. So there is this name, skilled worker visa. Now, when they say skilled worker visa, I'm not deviating on the topic, but because it just came up, skilled worker visa. Does that mean if the company employed me maybe as a carer, But then the skilled worker visa is not only limited to carers. So if I'm not doing the care and it's a skilled worker visa, when I look at the shortage occupation and there is anything to do, is it possible to take up those jobs apart from the care job, since they all fall under the skilled migrant route?
I suppose the person who is here with that skilled worker visa is being sponsored. That's the
Yes.
first conversation.
Okay.
If the person is being sponsored, which industry is the person required to work in?
Right.
Because it's industry specific.
Okay.
And the law says that even though you are working in this industry, if you want to do extra 20 hours during your spare time, you can, but within the same industry with somebody else. The moment you step out, then you have to start the process again with that industry. So, it will be difficult for somebody to say that, okay, I have arrived as a carer, but I want to go into teaching.
Okay.
I have arrived as a carer, I want to go into engineering or something else. If you wanted to do engineering or teaching, then you should have obtained sponsorship in teaching or for teaching.
So that's the difference.
That's why when you are applying, they ask for the SOC number, the industry code.
Code. Okay.
But the industry code will tell you which industry your visa is issued to cover.
Wow. There are a few things, honestly, a lot of companies themselves, they don't even know about this visa because, lawyer Asmah, to tell you the truth, so many issues coming up here and there on this skilled migrant visa. Everybody is complaining one way or the other about certain things. And I think the companies or the law firms or the people who actually liaison with these companies to apply for the sponsor license themselves, they need some sort of education on this, because one company just approached me. They know is they've received the sponsor license, but they don't know anything about even how to recruit. So I keep wondering, how did you get the license in the first place without even knowing what to do or what it entails? So I think that there are a few shortfalls here and there that needed to be addressed. But Lawyer Asma, thank you very much for that explanation. Though I think we probably one day will have this particular topic to explain further details and then clear some of these ideologies of these problems going on and here and there. Okay. I also have one question here. Let me ask quickly. It's still self-employed, but I think today we've talked so much about self-employed. Okay, so it said right, I think it's possible. Okay, he's on 2.5 years. I don't know whether by registration or by by partner route or by children. What do we call that one? That route, like
Parent.
parent, yeah, parent and then partner route. But I say he's got 2.5 and he's asking, can he use that 2.5 to become a self-employed?
Yes.
Okay, straightforward. So yes, you can. And then he's saying must the question they didn't write the question well. So I believe if you are listening to me, whoever sent the question, please, if you are listening to me, that's what a straightforward answer lawyer Asma has given. Yes, you can, even if you have 2.5 years on your visa. Okay, let's have one question here. It's a good afternoon, lawyer Charles, please. A friend came here on a student visa. She didn't go to the school and went back to Ghana and applied skilled worker visa as a nurse. I believe she was put on 10-year route as skilled worker because I didn't meet all the financial criteria. She spent a 1 year on that company and then switched to different care home who issued new course. I would like to ask, she will be on the 5 year, sorry, let me take that again. I would like to ask, she will be on the 5-year now. Okay, and not 10 years. Is a question. Again, her current sponsorship visa will be due for renewal in 2025. Does that mean she will be due for ILR or but apply another 2 years, making 5 years before applying for her ILR? Both jobs are in the health industry. Thank you. I mean, you know the calculation and how
All
what the
right.
question.
So we know that when people come in as skilled worker migrants, they are given a certain number of years of leave.
Okay.
Some come in with 5 years, some come in with 3 years, some depending on the arrangement with the employer, subject to renewal. The benchmark is that, or the position is that, if somebody is on the skilled worker for 5 years, then having spent 5 years as a skilled worker migrant, the 6th year, they can apply for indefinite leave to remain, which is the ILR. Now, can I combine? The rule says if you stay on the skilled worker for 5 years, the rule doesn't say that if you stay with one employer for 5 years. So if the rule says if you stay on the skilled worker for 5 years, then I put together to see whether I have stayed on the skilled worker for 5 years. Then the 6th year, I can apply for indefinite, provided there were no breaks or gaps. I think that is the nutshell of this long question.
Okay. Well, I believe the person is listening to us, so definitely we'll get the answer. There's one question also just pop out. Please, you can send your questions via the platform. If you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, you can just send your questions there for us to read for you. Okay. This is a simple question, but I believe this particular question, there are so many occasions we've talked about it, and it's not just straight. But what the question is, if someone wants to become a sponsor license, what are the process? If some want to become a sponsor license, what are the process? Asmah, I believe you.
Yes.
But
if you want to hold a license to be able to sponsor workers, you have to check whether you meet the criteria. Okay. And as part of the application process, you have to ensure that everything is in place. First thing being the job you are into, what the business is about, and whether the business is part of the list of businesses that government requires workers for. That's on the shortage occupation list. If it is on the shortage occupation list, it makes the work even easier because you've already identified that your area is in demand. Now, if the area is in demand, that's one thing. The next thing is whether you can meet the requirements. One, what have you done to show that you've not been able to find workers in the UK, so you have to go out or step out?
Okay.
The next thing is you have to ensure that your accounts are such that you are able to pay the necessary salary that fall within the type of job or the industry you are in, i.e., 22,000, 20,000 or thereabout. So let's say 22,000 or let's say 23, so to speak, for simplicity, or 25 plus, which is let's say 26, depending on the business you are running, but not on the shortage occupation list, but you are still struggling to find workers.
Okay.
Now, let's do simple math here.
Hold on, you said not on the shortage occupation list or on the shortage occupation list?
So if it's on the shortage occupation list, you know that normally they will give you the salary threshold, hovering around 22, 20, 21, 23. So I'm using 23 as the max.
Okay then.
If it is not on the shortage occupation list, but you want to make a case that you need people because you are struggling to find workers.
Okay.
Then you have to prove that you can meet the payment salary threshold of 25 plus, which is, let's say, 26,000 a year.
Yeah, lawyer Asmah, with this threshold, do you have to prove it with your bank statement, or the size of the company may determine whether you can meet the threshold?
So, good point. So that is the point, the next point
Right.
we are arriving at, that once you are bringing, you say that you need people, you have to recruit. What it means is that the business is viable, doing well, productivity is high, there's even growth and expansion to the point that you need to recruit because you are in staffing difficulty.
Yes.
So you need more staff because those that you have are not able to meet
the demand.
That's fantastic.
Okay.
So we want to see that you can pay the workers.
Yes. Okay.
Let's assume that you need 10 workers. Or you want to sponsor 10 workers. Because when you make the application for the license, after assessment, you'll be given a quota to start with. So let's say your assessment has attracted 10 staff that you can sponsor. Let's even use the simple situation where the company or the business is on shortage occupation list. And you are to pay, let's say 20,000, 21,000, or let's say 22. So the person is, let's say, to pay 20,000 something, let's say 21 for some simplicity. 21,000 per staff.
Okay.
Per year.
Per year. Annual.
Times 10. That's, so 21,000 times 10, that's 210.
That should be in
For
your...
example, I'm just giving an example.
Okay. Okay.
So if staff alone that you are seeking to employ, you have to pay them 210 a year. Then we are looking at how many you have already in your books as your workers. How much wage are you paying already? Let's put together and say that altogether it's about, say, 300,000. If it is that much, what evidence do you have to show that the business is good enough to earn this much in profit or in income so that you can pay one aspect of your expense, which is salary, and still survive?
Okay.
How do you prove it? So your accounts will show.
Yes. Okay.
We want to see what you have in your books as your annual report for the year in which you are filing, and even years before. It's just like buying property. They will assess you to see whether you can afford.
Of course.
So it's not enough to say that I want to recruit from abroad or from the UK by having a license to recruit, but it's important that you can prove that you can pay the workers. Because you are recruiting them to pay them salary, because they have to work for you. And that is the problem we have now. People have got a license through whatever means.
Exactly.
But the jobs are not available because there's no job.
So with this, lawyer, we won't go further, but with this no jobs, what will be the consequences on both the employee that's it's here now and can't work because there are no jobs for him, and what will be the consequences of the employer as well when it comes to the end of that periodic time stated that I can pay you annually this amount of money, that if it's 22,000 or 21,000, whatever. What are the consequences on both parties?
So until that date, there's no issue. If I say until that date, we are looking at when the person is due for renewal.
That is where the issue...
So the employer can say that, that's fine, I will manage the situation, no problem. So the employer is managing the situation for you, but now you are due for renewal. Okay. So you have to show that you have worked for, let's say, 3 years. Your P60 will show.
Yes.
And P60, you have to show the source of it. So we go to HMRC to show that every year you have been paid, every month you have been paid, and therefore this is happening. Now, if the company is not able to do that, then there will be no record about you if we input your NI into the system.
Okay.
So the question is, if you have not been working for 3 years, why should you be allowed to stay and work?
And work.
Now, what happens to the company? The company will also have to explain what is going on, because the company will also have to renew its license. So when you are going to renew your license, they have to vet you again.
Okay.
Renewal vetting or compliance process. Yeah. Sometimes they even do spontaneous checks or spot checks.
They've started, yes. If
they do the spot check and realize that things are not happening as the employer made it seem, then the employer's license will be revoked or cancelled. Once the license is cancelled, then there's no reason to sponsor.
Exactly.
And if there's no reason to sponsor, all those on sponsorship through that license are also in trouble. So the Home Office will be lenient to the employee to say that this has happened. So take steps to convert it to another employer.
Of course.
So you'll be given a time frame to find another employer, because to the Home Office, it's not your fault. You are innocent. So you can get a new employer and get a new COS and start the process from there as employee. But the employer will be in trouble because the license will be taken away. And once the license is taken away, you will not be able to get license again until a certain period when the Home Office thinks that things are better and they can trust you again with license.
This is becoming, someone would say, terror. Because most companies are facing such problems, or the employees are rather facing these problems. I'm here now, but the company says there are no job for me to do. I have to keep waiting. So you definitely feel the consequences when it comes to renewing your visa. But Lawyer Asmah, the time now is 5:45. We are still counting, and very soon I'll bring the quiz question for us to try our hands on. But Lawyer Asmah, so if, for instance, the 3-year period, probably the first 3-4 months, I wasn't actually working because the company had issues with the employing me or giving me jobs to do. And then just after that, everything became regularized, working straight. So maybe I've lost about 4 months within that year period. Would that still affect me if the company says, okay, now that I've been able to offer you the job now and everything is on point till the very end of the 3 years for renewal, would there still be a problem? Or I have to still I have to still answer for the 4 months period there?
If you can give me the starting part of your, I missed that bit.
Okay, so I've been employed from January to December for 3 years. And when I came, the company wasn't ready to give me the job because it wasn't there. So probably I've stayed for 4 months period without working until the company started giving me jobs to do. So since the 4 months, I've been constantly working till the end of the 3-year period. So would that 4 months still affect my renewal of the visa?
Well, I wouldn't say that you were not working. I would say that maybe the company was, as part of your induction process, going through compliance. Could be that DBS had to be checked. Could be that CQC issues or matters need to be resolved. So I would say that the company was taking you through formalities.
Without any for that 4 months period?
Well, so what I'm saying is that the company potentially may be taking you through formalities. So you have to. And remember, when it comes to induction, or if you are a new recruit, the company can choose to give you allowance because you haven't officially started, or can choose to give you nothing. You won't get pay slip. But it doesn't mean that you are not working. you have reported to work, but you are going through the formalities.
Okay.
But when we are actually looking at when you started, we'll count the 4 months. Because 4 months you were in the books of the business as the staff.
Okay.
Just that you are new staff, so you were going through your DBS, you are going through your other processes. You may even need have to get a bank account before all that. You had to complete Form P46 as part of a new staff process, and so on and so forth. And therefore, the company said that wait until all these paper or admin processes are complete before we start you off. Or the company even said that because this is a new area of work and you are coming from a new environment, we have to induct you properly. And the induction takes maybe 6 months or 5 months or 3 months, so be it. But that will not go against the person because the person reported for work. So the employer will know what to do.
That solve a lot of issues now. Thank you so much. And upon that, I'm going to bring our quiz for today, and I believe you'll be able to answer because Lawyer Asmah has already given the explanation of the question. So my question goes, the quiz, wow, if it can be a bit bold, let's see. So is it Alomo Berima, Alomo Berima arrived in the UK with a Ghanaian passport as a visitor in 1999. 2 years later, Alomo applied for asylum with a Malian passport. His asylum application was accepted and he was granted indefinite leave to remain as a refugee. Alomo subsequently married Ahofe Patri, and they had 2 children, all of whom were granted British citizenship. Ahofe Patri was granted indefinite leave based on her marriage to Alomo. In 2020, Alomo applied for British citizenship. The application was granted. In January 2023, the Nationality Directorate wrote to Alomo that they had information that he used fraud and misrepresentation to acquire his British citizenship. So, what do you think will happen to Alomo British citizenship? So, this is the explanation that came in earlier through our nuggets. 1. As Alomo and Ahofe have British children, his citizenship will not be cancelled. 2. As Alomo is not a criminal, he will be given a second chance, so his citizenship will not be cancelled. Alomo's citizenship may be removed as he practiced fraud and misrepresentation by using a Malian passport for his asylum application. What is the answer to the above question? So, Pampana, those on board, if you want to answer, you can keep bringing your answers on board, and then later on we ask Lawyer Asmah to give us the explanation to this based on our nugget, and then we can declare the answer. So let me just quickly wait for 5 minutes before we come to the answers or the right answer for this question. Test your knowledge, BWF Solicitors. Thank you very much. Now let's quickly, so we are still here discussing what to do if you fail to file your annual account on time, or if you fail to do that within the specific time given. If you just join us, this is BWF Solicitors, the community and the law. Today, our brother Kwaku Owusu Frimpong just vanished to somewhere, so I'm taking over from him. And so far, so good. Lawyer Asmah has duly explained so many things based on the topic that we've raised today. And I believe if you just join and you want to know further, either you can ask your question, we still have some few minutes left, you can ask your question, or you can go back and then watch the whole video where you can get most of the explanation over there. Let me see on board those we are waiting for your answers. If you can bring your answers on board, then we can go on further. Lawyer Asmah, thank you for the explanation to the sponsor license one and a few aspects we've talked about it. This sponsor license business is becoming issue everywhere, people calling in and out with problems here and there. But the last explanation that you gave us really, solve a whole lot of issues. So there is actually something to be done, and what's the right thing to be done as well. So let's quickly move on. The question again, what do you think will happen to Alomo British citizenship? If I can go over again for those listening, maybe probably you are not watching Facebook or YouTube, but you are listening to BW radio. Let me quickly read that again. There is this question: Alomo Berima arrived in the UK with a Ghanaian passport as a visitor in 1999. 2 years later, Alomo applied for asylum with a Malian passport. So when you look at it, he arrived in 1999, but 2 years after or 2 years later, Alomo applied for asylum with a Malian passport. I remember very well Uncle Ben gave us a very good explanation to this particular scenario. So pay attention to the years involved with this question. His asylum application was accepted and he was granted indefinite leave to remain as a refugee. Alomo subsequently married Ahwofe Patri and they had 2 children, all of whom were granted British citizenship. So these children had their citizenship because their dad had one. So Ahwofe Patri was also granted indefinite leave to remain, based on her marriage to Alomo in 2020. Alomo applied for British citizenship. The application was granted. Now, in January 2023, we are still on the number of years in here. The Nationality Directorate wrote to Alomo that they had information that he used fraud and misrepresentation to acquire his British citizenship. What do you think will happen to Alomo's British citizenship? So over to you, listeners and viewers. If you are listening to us or watching us, you can bring in your answer. We've got one person saying Berima, Berima. So the answer is A. Adai Monumkon says the answer is number 2. We have Mark Bonnie Margaret. Okay, he said the answer is number 3. Yeah. We also have Adai. Okay, Adai, I've mentioned yours to number 2 as the answer. Keep the answers flowing. And I'm going to invite Lawyer Asmah to come and explain this scenario for us. Lawyer Asmah. So we don't know the answer yet, but if you can throw more light on the question for us to get our understanding properly before we declare the answer, please.
So the scenario is that somebody came into the UK as a visitor, sought asylum, was granted, through that, naturalized, and became a British citizen. Now, the person marries, get the wives to join. Of course, the children become British as well. And the key thing here is that the nationality now, the Nationality Directorate, let's say the government, writes to the person to say that we have a tip-off or we have information that your nationality was obtained by fraud or you use fake information or document to get your naturalization. So we are taking it away from you. That's the gist. What will happen to this person's citizenship? the person's citizenship will be taken away. So the person's citizenship may be removed, and the key word is may be removed as the person practiced fraud and misrepresentation because by using a Malian passport for his asylum application. Now, the key thing there is that they use fraud or they use misrepresentation. So the nugget we had today, we touched up on 3 things that can trigger that. We said that the law says that if it is in the interest of the public good or for public good, in other words, if we have to take it away from you so that we can live happily as a nation without you, and most people will be happy without you, we take it away. That's the public good. Could be that your behavior has become very, very serious. You be engaged in criminal activities and so on and so forth. So if it is in the public interest or public good requires, it will be taken away and would not make them stateless, provided they are not going to be rendered stateless. If they are going to be rendered stateless, then it will be very difficult for the person's citizenship to be taken away. The second part says that if you got it by fraud or misrepresentation, if you used fake information or fake document to get it, in other words, you deceived the government to give you citizenship, then if they find out, they will take it away from you. So you can see that point 2 doesn't have any qualification. It says if the person obtained through fraud. Then the third one, if it is harmful to the UK or to the country as a whole, then it will be taken away from you, especially if the person has citizenship elsewhere. So if the person has citizenship, let's say, and this is for dual nationals, if the person is a dual national and they are engaged in activities that is not good for the country, especially terrorist activities or war activities, then the activity is putting the country at risk. So they will not be allowed to remain citizens because they have a choice to go to their original country. So that is the position with Shamima Begum, the lady who went to fight in Syria.
Yeah.
There are also many cases to do with point 2, fraud, where the person came in back and forth, then they are in it through whatever they said or they did. If they found out that whatever they said or they did was fraudulent, then they may take steps to take it away from them. So the answer is number 3.
3. I thought so. Okay, so let's see those who had the number 3 correct. Adai, on this occasion, I'm afraid you didn't get it right. So Mark, Bonnie, Margaret, you had it right. Well done. And who else? So I think you were the only person who had the answer correct. Berima said the answer is A, where we had numbers. So if I'm using A to represent number 1, I'm afraid you had it wrong. So well done, all of you, all those who tried. Well done, and thank you so much, Lawyer Asmah, for this explanation. At least with the second explanation, it's really making it clearer for those of you who missed the first one that you did. So thank you once again. Thank you very much. So soon our time is up. This is the community and the law. It's been a pleasure hosting tonight. Lawyer Asmah, may I get some last words for the viewers and the listeners before we draw the curtain?
Thank you very much. Viewers and listeners, once again, thank you for joining and being part of tonight's show. We've looked at a question bordering on missing deadline to file company accounts and confirmation statement to the company's house. What happens or what do you do? And here we are talking to you, or we were talking to you in your capacity as a director of the company or a person with significant control, the owner of the business, so to speak. what should you do? You have to take immediate steps to file the returns and pay the penalties associated with the failure to do on time. If you feel that the penalty is not reasonable because the failure was not your fault, then you can explain by way of appeal, and the money will be waived or the charge will be waived. Once you file, then everything comes back to the right level. In this case, that the system will update that the account have been delivered, confirmation statement have been delivered. If you still do not, the company will be notified, another notice. If you still don't, the company will be listed for strikeout. If you still don't, the company will be struck out. Once it is done, the company is closed down or dissolved. So it is dissolved by force, by the law, operation of the law. At that point, you cannot file the accounts. You just have to start another business or register the business again and start the process. The company, if it has bank account, the account will be closed by the banker or the bank. If the company director has personal account, especially with the same bank, it will trigger a link, and that will also or may lead to your account being closed down as well if the bank feels that they cannot keep you as a director who was not able to do what the company ought to have done. The same applies to people with significant control. So what we are saying here is that if you're a company owner, company director, once you miss a deadline, that's not the end place. Take steps to remedy the situation and pay the penalty if there are penalties to be paid. As long as you keep to that, as long as you do that, you will not have any problem. If you feel that the delay was not your fault, you inform the company's house by making an appeal or by writing to them, then you'll be given extension of time so that you can deal with the statutory duty. This is what we have brought to you today on the Community and the Law show. Once again, happy birthday to Kwaku Owusu Frimpong, Owura Kwaku, today, this week. What's your birthday? So we wish you well. We know that something else took you away from the studios. So wherever you are, we know you are with us. You are following keenly. And we thank you so much for what you are giving to the community. And you, viewer and listener, thank you once again for your time. Once again, have a good weekend.
Yes, whenever we have Alpha, there is an Omega. Everything that we start, definitely we have an end. So we began beautifully and we are ending very beautifully. So thank you all once again for time with us. This is the Community and the Law, and I, Manyanati, was with you today. Have a lovely week ahead, and next week, same time, we'll meet again. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Jesus, you're my everything, yeah. My everything is you, Lord. Yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Everybody say, yeah.